Hey everyone, I'm Rob Scott from UC Today and welcome to our October 2021 Microsoft Teams news update. So as always, I'm joined by Microsoft Teams expert and MVP, Tom Arbuthnot. Tom, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thanks Rob. Yeah, it's been busy just off the back of Comsverse and UC Expo next week as of time of recording, so it's all go at the moment.
Indeed, it seems some events are coming back in person, some have gone virtual, so yeah, you're right, Comsverse, great in-person event. Really successful. And Enterprise Connect, which is by the time we send this out, was last week, and that seems to have all gone virtual. Over in the US, so it's things seem to be heating up in the event space, but not quite back to normal. If ever there's going to be a normal.
Yeah, it definitely depends where you are in the world and how those countries are doing. I think we're fortunately in the UK and London, we're doing fairly well in terms of vaccine rollout and stuff. So it's all have your COVID double jab passes and stuff, but going full throttle here. But as you say, rest of the world, it's all very different. So mix of virtual and physical for a while, I think.
Indeed. But Microsoft has certainly revealed a few new things recently. So let's talk about those. What's top of your list this month, Tom?
Yeah, so talking about Enterprise Connect, they did drop some exciting news at Enterprise Connect. So first thing was Operator Connect, which is the model where carriers directly peer to Microsoft on the back end and provide PSTN phone numbers for users. So there's no technical boxes to configure between the customer and the carrier. It's all done on the back end. That's going GA actually this week as time of recording, so the end of September. And also they announced 9 new partners on the program. So AT&T, Colt, Gamma, Liquid Intelligent Technologies, Optus, Singtel, Telefonica Global, Telia and Telstra International, which is a part of Telstra, all on the program as launch partners as well. So they joined I think it was 9 or so original partners in preview. I won't list them all out because we've had them before, but there's a lot of partners in play and some big names. I mean, on the other list, you've got the kind of likes of Pure IP, BT, NTT, Tata. So you've got Verizon, serious players on that program now, all with the ability to go into the Teams admin center and contact them directly for Teams phone numbers. Interesting.
So what does that mean for all the other providers, Tom? I mean, there's a whole bunch of direct routing providers out there. So, how's that sit?
Yeah, so to direct routing, it's a good question. Direct routing doesn't go away. So there's still that option there, and calling plans from Microsoft, which we'll talk about more in a minute, don't go away either. So that they're all options on the table, but certainly if you're a customer looking for the simple option, I think the default position will be Operator Connect because there's less overhead, less admin, less to configure and maintain. And I think you'll see all the carriers queuing up. I know there's a big list of carriers who want to get on the program, so I'm expecting to see more and more on the program. So I think it will become a bar for carriers in Teams to be on to have kind of serious customer base on Teams.
Great. And there's something about Metaswitch managed SBCs, is that correct?
Yeah, I thought this was quite interesting. Obviously, Metaswitch is now wholly owned by Microsoft. So along with the announcement, they kind of sneaked in there that it is a service from Metaswitch rather than Microsoft. But Metaswitch are offering managed SBCs for Operator Connect. So what that means is they will deploy their SBCs in a carrier's Azure tenant and provide them as a managed service into the Metaswitch NOC and everything else to connect that carrier's network into Operator Connect. So this is a super easy way for a carrier, an existing carrier, to jump on the Operator Connect program, tick all the right boxes in terms of connectivity and things. And it's from Microsoft/Metaswitch. The other providers can do this as well. Your Ribbons and your Audio Codes and others can do the same type of things. It's not exclusive to Metaswitch, but it's interesting to see Microsoft giving that a little push. They gave it a push. It was one of the first SBCs in the ACS program. It's clearly being pushed here as well. So that they're saying that we can offer you more here around the whole solution for the carrier.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting to see, how they're kind of realizing that investment, that acquisition that they made of Metaswitch, and, things are creeping out now, aren't they? And, interesting to see another SBC on the table for customers to choose.
Yeah, it's always interesting with Microsoft and their whole ecosystem play when they bring something in-house, like how they play it, because they obviously love their ecosystem partners and all the variety and competitiveness that brings. When they have a first-party option as well, how do they balance those out? But it's it was interesting to see them push that at the same time as the Operator Connect announcement.
Okay, and there's some more news on the calling plan front. What's going on?
Yeah, so this is interesting as well. At the same time as the announcement, so Microsoft have a first-party carrier option called calling plans, where you buy the connectivity and the numbers direct from them. And for a long while, this was on a massive slow burn. It was 10 countries, 15 countries, and it just seemed to sit around adding no countries. But now they've added a lot recently in the last 12 months and just announced adding 5 more. So the new countries are Croatia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Slovenia, which brings the total, Microsoft say the total is 33. I think that's a bit suspect because they've got 2 partnerships. So for Australia and Japan, it's partnerships, but 31 legit first party, you have a relationship with Microsoft for phone numbers. So even though they're offering operator connect and direct routing, they're not deserting their calling plan options. And if anything, they're going to keep bumping that up.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So they really are providing choice ultimately. Bring your own carrier, or almost just sign up and go.
And you can mix and match as well. You can mix and match. You might have direct routing because you need some PBX interop in one country, or there isn't any local carrier connectivity other than having literally an old school ISDN in the box. In another place, you'll have operator connect, and another place you have calling plans. So you don't have to make a global decision. You can absolutely mix and match for business reasons, commercial reasons, technical reasons, or just resiliency. Like, it's nice to have different options on the table.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And ultimately just lots and lots of flexibility in there, which is really good. Okay, so next up, we said we talk about Facebook Portal. What's happening over at Facebook?
Yeah, this is super interesting. So for the longest time, we've been having this conversation in the community about, well, you've got the likes of Skype, which is obviously a Microsoft product, and WebEx and Zoom all running on consumer products. So variations of Google Nest, Amazon Echoes, and Facebook Portals. And Facebook Portal were the first to announce with Microsoft that they will support Teams. So you can take your Facebook Portal, which for those who are not familiar is a consumer-based video device unit, so a screen, a camera, a smart speaker type scenario, and you can sign into Teams and have it as a full Teams client. This is super interesting for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's Microsoft kind of getting into Teams on consumer devices beyond just mobiles, but it also draws some interesting lines again around the whole certified partner program, where they have all these first party certified devices which go through a very stringent certification program, and Microsoft have those partners. But now you could just go to Amazon or Facebook and pick up a portal and slap Teams on it and have a Teams endpoint there. So interesting decision for customers.
Yeah, it is. But didn't we talk about a few months ago more about kind of Microsoft Teams supporting just like third-party SIP endpoints. So it seems to be they just want to be able to connect everything together.
Yeah, definitely. And so that third-party endpoint stuff is actually coming in November, so that's not far out now as well. And I think you're right. It will meet you where you are. Also, Teams are pushing very hard in the consumer space, and you can't be a credible consumer video conferencing platform if you're not on these types of devices. So I think Microsoft are going to say, look, if you're a consumer or you happen to have one of these devices at home, go for it. But I know it's not going through the same certification process that a professional, quote unquote, a proper certified device would go through. So for the office, you're probably still likely to lean towards these certified solutions. So this is more of a home or SMB type scenario.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. So next up, our final piece of news, we said we talk about contact center. Specifically Zoom's 5.9 contact center now certified for Microsoft Teams. So, tell us more on that.
Yeah, so when I wrote this blog, I did write Zoom's 5.9 certified contact center because that was the way it was leaning at the time, and also SEO headlines. Everybody loves that. But yeah, so 5.9 is now certified to interop with Teams. They were on the about to be certified list for quite a while, but now they've met all the requirements and ticked all the boxes. They're certified on what's called the Connect model, where they're basically just sending a phone call from 5.9 into Teams via direct routing. But what was interesting is this was all coming out before the kind of Zoom and 5.9 news got a bit deflated. So it was interesting to see kind of rivals in the collaboration communication space working together in the contact center space, and whether that was going to cause any friction or not.
Yeah, and that is quite interesting, isn't it, in terms of where that could go? Again, we don't know whether the deal is going to be done between Zoom and Five9 yet, but that's up and down in the news certainly at the moment. But lots of contact centers out there at the moment connecting into Microsoft Teams, aren't there? And it seems to be a real hot topic. Again, you had a session on it recently at Comsverse. I mean,
yeah, it was a really well attended session at Comsverse, and it's super interesting because there are actually quite a few compelling events when you're moving towards Teams. Like, lots of contact centers are connected into the existing PBX, which is getting ripped out, so that's a compelling event. Also, people are moving towards more of a cloud model. So once they move to the cloud for their telecoms, we should probably go some kind of cloud SaaS solution for contact center as well, and get rid of managing boxes for that. So it is causing a bit of a shake-up in the contact center industry. And to be honest, I mean, this is even if Zoom do buy Five9, it will be pragmatic for Five9 to still be certified for Teams because of the sheer scale of the customer base. If you want to be the number one cloud contact center, I think you've really got to be working with Teams in some way to capture that market. So I think even if the Zoom deal goes ahead, I suspect Five9 will remain a certified solution for Teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think collaboration companies need to collaborate nowadays. That's the rule, I think.
That does seem to be the trend, doesn't it? Is actually work together to help the customer, which is a crazy idea. Indeed.
So, last but not least, let's jump back to events for a moment, because we've got 2 or 3 event plugs to run through, because there's things happening on the event front. So if you're out there and you're interested in either visiting in person or jumping on a virtual event, here's a couple. So, Tom, the first one is UC Expo. That's up next week.
Yeah, definitely.
By the time this comes out, it'll be this week, I suppose.
yeah. So as this drops, it'll be in a few days, probably 6th and 7th of October. So very soon, in London XL, and it's paired with Digital Transformation Expo as well, which is another show that the same company do. UC Expo is a classic one in London that the whole industry tends to go to. So it's always a big show. I'm really excited about it. I'm doing quite a few sessions as well. I'm doing Overcoming Teams Overload session with some Microsoft speakers. I'm just reading them out here. Technology enabler for hybrid work culture. Do you need a managed service provider for Teams, which I think is going to be quite fun and passionate session, and something on room design as well. But the whole area is set up with different stages, and there's a lot of stuff going on around Microsoft stage and Microsoft partners. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been fully subscribed. I've got a session. It's called Hybrid, the Overcoming the Hybrid Headache. I'm doing it with Cavell and Microsoft and PwC, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But
that sounds really good. I mean, we've been doing lots of prep calls, obviously, and the whole theme of the show is around the return to the office / hybrid working, and lots of stuff on culture, which I found really refreshing. The thing I like about UC Expo is they push really hard to have end customers in the session. So I think pretty much all the sessions have got some kind of influence from outside just the vendors, which is really important for shows like this, I think.
That's great, yeah. And I think it's certainly a theme, isn't it, in hybrid and return to work, that's going to carry us into 2022 for sure.
Oh, 100%. It's definitely the number one topic at the moment, beyond just plugging in the technology, is what's the office going to look like, and what kit do we need to service those type of people, and a general recognition as well that home workers are going to need proper kit and a proper experience. Like, the whole getting by thing is gone now. Like, if people are going to even spend partial days at home, they need a decent technology to work properly.
Absolutely. So next up, we've got a virtual event, but it is one that no Microsoft fan can miss, really. This is the second Microsoft Ignite session event of the year?
Yeah, so this is, we had a one earlier in the year, didn't we? So this is traditionally the time for the bigger show. Again, all virtual. This used to be a massive kind of 20,000 person in-person show. But yeah, really looking forward to this. Is the whole Microsoft technology stack, not just Teams. So it'll be Azure, M365, the lot. But I know there's some cool Teams announcements coming. So that's November. I think it's the 2nd. Just look up. Yeah, 2nd to the 4th of November. So get registered now. It's virtual. It's free, and there'll be some interesting engagement opportunities, community opportunities there as well. So one to look out for. Absolutely, yeah, and one not to miss. And finally, I'd just like to plug the UC Partner Awards, which is actually on the 4th of November, so on the last day of Microsoft Ignite.
where we're celebrating, some of the leading partners from around the globe, managed service providers, communication service providers, channel partners, and channel vendors. So that event is virtual. It's a virtual awards or digital awards ceremony, and that's on the 4th of November. You can sign up for that for free at ucawards.com. So, Tom, I think that's about it from us today, but thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's good to catch up, and looking forward to seeing you in person at UC Expo. And anybody else who's listening, if you're around, please do come and say hello.
Fantastic. Thanks. Looking forward to it. And that's it from us. If you've enjoyed today's session, please subscribe to UC Today News and give this video a quick share on social, as it's always appreciated. And if you're a Microsoft fan and you want to be part of this conversation, you can join Tom and myself on LinkedIn and Twitter, and our social links are always in the description. We'll be back again next month with more Microsoft Teams news. Thanks for watching.